Hi, my name is Mary, and this is my mentor, Gillian. And we wrote this piece after realizing we both had lost pets that we loved and decided to write about it. Lost but not forgotten, Rocky and Misty. It was a summer day, and my dad brought his friend over to our home with his whole family and a huge dog named Rocky. He was mean. I could tell by the way he tugged on his leash, ready to strike at any time. I didn't know it at the time, but he would become not only my pet, but my best friend. Rocky was a 1 year old Rottweiler with a stubby thing for a tail and a bark that would scare anyone silly. He liked to show he was loved and was extremely jealous when it came to my other pets. Even though he was huge in size, he was a puppy at heart, always rolling over and wanting a belly scratch. Rocky had it all, but most of all, he had a big heart, literally.
It was raining in February. The shelter was frigid, and hot breath steamed from the dogs as we shuffled down the aisles. We walked past the poodle with dreadlocked fur, a Dalmatian mutt, a tiny shivering chihuahua, shielding our noses from the stench of disinfectant, wet blankets, and moldy dog food. The loudest yelp came from a dog about the size of a radio flyer wagon, with Dorito-shaped ears, hot chocolate-colored fur, and a jelly bean nose. She licked our salty fingers through the grates of her cage. We knew in our hearts, our hands, our guts that she was ours. Our first dog, we called her Misty.
After I first met Rocky, the mean attitude he carried diminished, leaving a happy-go-lucky dog who only wanted to protect his family. Even though I could never see his happiness through a wag of his tail, I knew that Rocky was loved in our home. That love radiated his physique more than anything, even if he didn't have a tail to show for it. I remember all of the golden moments spent with Rocky, his jumping to his full height and hugging me, his protective demeanor, always barking at passerbys, and threatening to break off his leash and chase them down the street. But most of all, I remember his appetite. Rocky would eat anything given to him and refused to eat his own dog food without adding some human food to it. Most of all, Rocky loved to scare those whom he was unfamiliar with and protect those that he loved.
She was too smart for her own good, picking out words like treats from conversations to start barking riots. She picked locks and opened doors and raided the fridge for late-night snacks of raw hot dogs and fruit roll-ups. We dressed her in costumes for every holiday and football game. For President's Day, she was Abraham Lincoln with a beard and a top hat. We moved 4 times, from apartments to housing shares to finally our first real home. She'd be there, tied to the dryer, sniffing our heels as we moved boxes of our lives from place to place. Misty was always at home and always felt like home.
It was on July 31st, 2010, when my mom came rushing inside of the house and called my dad. I was not aware of the panic in her voice until I heard those last few words. He won't move. Immediately, I ran out of my house and regretted it. Rocky was lying on his side with his eyes closed, his beautiful brown eyes I would never see again. Blackie, his son, was just circling him, and I knew instantly that there was something wrong. I sat out there on the dirty yard and cried. I hugged my dog like there was no tomorrow. I kept asking why, but I got no answer. All I knew was that one of the best things in my life was now gone forever. I didn't even get to say goodbye.
Her hips were the first to go, becoming stiff with age. She went blind and deaf. We took turns carrying her upstairs in our arms and feeding her by hand, one dog pebble at a time, until she could finish her dinner. The cancer got worse. Our hands, our hearts, and our guts couldn't save her. We were all in the room, our hands on her little chest as it heaved for the last time. We still missed the smell of her paws. They smelled like Cheerios.
Every year on July 30th, I am reminded of my loss. Every time I watch Marley and Me, I am reminded of Rocky and how I had the same relationship but never got to say goodbye. I not only learned to accept that once things are gone, they'll never come back, but I learned that you never know what you have until it's lost, and you should make the best out of every day of your life, because you never know what will happen. Carpe diem.